Hello, lovely geometry students. Welcome to lesson 6.03, where we are going to focus on the altitude rule. So for today, I can make connections between the altitude rule and similar triangles and choose a strategy to solve for a missing side. So do now. Use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for x. So the Pythagorean theorem, if you forgot, is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And c is always the hypotenuse. Go ahead and try out this do now and play once you're ready to move on. All right, so these are the legs in purple, and those are always A and B. C is the hypotenuse because it's always the largest length or it's always across the right angle. So let's go ahead and substitute. A is 12 squared, B is x squared, and C is 13 squared. I'm going to use our calculator. And it's going to be 12 square is 144. Bring down whatever we don't use. And 13 square is 169. I'm going to subtract 144 on both sides. So x squared equals 25. Excuse me? You need to sit down in a separate table. You're taking the summative. And then you're going to square root on both sides. So x equals 5. What sort of triangle is this? Right triangle. What is the hypotenuse? 13. Or C, how do you know? It's opposite the right angle. All right, moving on. So, overlapping right triangle. So, in these lessons, we've been seeing how there's one big triangle, but there are smaller triangles in between. Here, we have three triangles. Triangle 1, triangle 2, and the whole triangle will be triangle 3. So let's label it 1, 2, 3. Now, you need to use the right angle to help orient your letters. So start where the right angle is. That's going to be angle D. And then above it is B and C. The second smallest triangle, triangle 2, the right angle is here. So it's D again. A and B. And 3, the right angle is at B. A is the larger length and BC is the shorter length. Once you have this down, flip the page and move on. Example A, find the value of x. So you're going to have two different strategies, drawing triangles, and then using the altitude rule. So step 1, draw the three different triangles. So I'll start with the smallest, triangle 1, triangle 2, and the largest third triangle is triangle 3. So let's do the angles at D, the shorter length is DC, B. x in 4. Triangle 2. The right angle is at D again. The shorter length is DB, and that's x. And AD is 9. Yeah, B, C, A. BC we don't know. And AC is 9 plus 4, which is 13. So in triangle 3, we only have one number, but in triangle 1 and 2, there are two numbers in each triangle to set up a proportion. So let's go ahead and do that. You could say x is to 4 as 9 is to x. Your proportion can look different, but you'll still get the same answer. So let's do x times x is x squared, not 2x. And 9 times 4 is 36. The inverse of square is square root. So x equals 6. So in the summative, you could always draw the triangles separately. Now, let's use the altitude rule, and you should get the same answer. The altitude is always perpendicular to the base. So here the altitude is x. And when we set up the proportion, you always put the altitude diagonally. And here, we're going to have part of hypotenuse 1, 9. PO stands for part, height, hypotenuse. And part of hypotenuse 2 is 4. And check it out. We have the same proportion as drawing the triangle separately. So you'll have the same answer. X squared is x times x squared, 9 times 4, 36. To isolate x, we get the square root on both sides, so x equals 6. So try out the check for understanding. You could choose your own strategy and make sure your quant comes up to get a signature before moving on. All right, see you next time.